So this is my running project, Leading Professional Developments on Inclusive Education, reflecting on my skills and resources. So the current practice that I'm looking at is leading professional development opportunities for staff and how to support our students with IEPs, 504 plans, and our students who are learning English in our general education classes so that they can be properly supported and be successful. This practice includes how to access a student's IEP at a glance or their accommodations and modifications. And this picture is from our current curriculum website where a teacher can actually find a student support profile, see what they qualify under, and look at those specific areas. And we talk about how to access those and how to utilize those. This is meaningful because it helps students be successful in those general education classes. It's also a part of the law that requires free and appropriate education, that it needs to meet the state's educational agency standards and align with the student's IEP. All of our students are in general education for 80 to 100% of the day, so all of our teachers need to know how to do this in order to align with the student's IEP. So when and how is this done? Right now, we look at whole team professional development time. This occurs for maximum 2 hours, and we have a weekly professional development opportunity. So our inclusive education professional developments only occur 2, maybe 3 times a year. And what I do is I leverage my skills and strengths as a special educator, as well as a general educator. I show teachers different ways of thinking, different resources available, and leverage my knowledge of the students to figure out the best ways to support them in each of those individual classes. This picture is an example from our accessibility resource bank of different ways that we can support students. And these just include a couple with reading, some writing, and some language resources. Some obstacles that we tend to face is teachers often feel invigorated after the professional development opportunity, but then they can fail to apply it in the classroom for various reasons. Some have felt like their practice has worked in the past. What they've always done, the kids always pass, so it's always fine. They don't need to update it. Other teachers get so overwhelmed with modifying things that they don't know where to start. This is an example of a template for a document set reading guide. And there are reading guides already included in our curriculum, but this would be one that a teacher would modify based on a student's needs. And it can seem like a lot of work for a teacher to do. But the impact of having this proper inclusive education and teachers knowing how to do this, the school staff is impacted by this. They have agency over their teaching and their practices and what they're assigning. And by extension, the students in the school are impacted as well, especially those with IEP 504 plans and those learning English. They're able to be successful in general education classes. They're able to be with their peers. It can build confidence. And it can expose their peers to people who have different learning needs and different people. So it really does, by extension, benefit the entire school by directly targeting our school staff. So the object of this is for teachers to know how to and be able to modify and accommodate their classes to their students based on the specific learning needs. The outcome, however, is dependent on the teacher. For some teachers, it is the same as the object. That is their outcome, they're able to do that. For others, the outcome is that they just feel overwhelmed by the amount of work to do, and even others just felt like they wasted their time because this isn't necessary for them. And this is an example of a modified assignment. It's Plot Devices 9, 9th grade, modified focus area, designed for students with an IEP of 504 or EL to be assigned by the teacher as deemed necessary by their individual learning plan. So some teachers walk away feeling like they know how to do that on their own, but others have some struggles. So some of the mediating tools that we use example IEPs, We use example modified assignments. We have teachers use planning sheets. So who are in their classes? What do they qualify in? Where are their struggles? What do they need support on? Again, this is a resource that teachers can find where they can see, oh, where is the student at a very quick glance in writing? This is what they're working on. This is their writing level. Math, this is what they're working on. This is their math level. Where's some other things to focus on? We also look at that accessibility resource bank for the teachers. We have a PowerPoint presentation that we go through with our teachers, and we do brainstorming sessions with some check-ins. And the rules during these professional developments is to, well, first off, to attend them. I put unless able to because, we know teachers get sick or otherwise have to miss work. So if they're in the building, they need to attend unless they're otherwise sick or out of work for the day. To come in with an open mind. We recognize that some of us feel like our practices have worked in the past, but we want to come in with an open mind for the future. We want to do our very best work, respect everyone's time, so we start on time, end on time. Utilize the time to do the work. Ask questions when you have them, and ask for help when needed. So some of these constraints are when people don't show up for the PD or they do not do the work. We know that, again, people miss days and they're not there, or they feel like after the professional development ends, if nobody follows up with them, they don't necessarily need to do the work. Another constraint is how much time myself or our EL teacher have to help teachers. If they're not sure how to modify an activity and they would like some support on that, making sure that we have the time to do that with all of our teachers, with all of our students, the time is a constraint there. And one thing that came up, especially in our readings, is we do tend to overload some of our classes by including a larger population of students with disabilities than exist in that natural proportion. And we know that this is a negative to both teachers and other students. Over here, we see a support profile. We can see already 6 kids in this class of maybe 15 having needs that would require that extra work of those teachers. So what are some changes? The first step is to follow up on the work that we do during these meetings. These inclusion-based professional developments are new for our school. They did not exist when I started 5 years ago, and we have increased them every year. But currently, they're only done twice a year. So add more of those. Have accountability for our teachers. Professional developments actually occur on days that we don't teach classes. Students have classes on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, but due to the alternative school setting, Wednesdays are usually a day students can come in to get caught up on classes. Because of the fact that there are no live classes and therefore no subs or no lesson plans due, some teachers will use these days to take that day off as a great way to take, an easier day to take off. But because of that, they miss these professional developments and they're not held accountable for the work that they missed. And we want to change that. Currently, there is a mindset that even though these are students with IEPs, 504s, or learning English, are in the general education classroom, they're still the responsibility of their case manager. It's not up to the teacher of the class to adjust for that. The case manager has to deal with that. And that is a mindset that we need to change in order to have proper inclusion. Teachers continue to feel overwhelmed by the need to adapt material, especially during this hybrid instruction, and not enough time to help the staff develop these tools to adapt and modify independently. We also need to change on how the training is provided for people like me and our EL teachers to deliver proper professional development. I am giving it the best way I know how, but I've never been trained in how to lead a professional development to best support our staff. And that is something that I feel like is important to change so that with this minimal amount of time, we can put forward our best work for our teachers. So why is an action plan needed? Right now, I feel like without an action plan, inclusive education will continue to come last to all the other work that teachers must do. Students will be in the general education classroom, but they won't be receiving proper supports to be successful. And because of that, parents and students may want back into a resource class because they felt like they were more successful there, they were more supported there. And the information that I need is, how do we build our professional development calendar so that we can make sure that we allocate the appropriate number of days, both as a large group school setting and in smaller groups to support our staff? How effective professional developments are run, how to make sure teachers feel supported in their work. As a school, we need to define what inclusive education means and figure out a very specific focus and direct our energy on those specific areas, as they mentioned in the DeMatthews-Stewini reading. So that is where I'm at with my running project. Thank you.